When we left during the emergency rule, our records are there. We left over 300 and something billion. When we came back, we met about 600 and something. Every penny that we're spending, the record is there. And evidence of it will be shown within now and the next 6 months. So there is no issue on what are we doing with our money, what are we doing with the money they made. At least nobody can take away my sincerity, my genuineness. I am not associated to anything that has to do with fraudulent acts. If there is one thing I can say and do that I'm even proud of, is nobody can associate me with anything that has to do with any bad thing. So your money and the record of how your monies are being spent is intact. We have very, 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 very strong projects that we are doing. Maybe the reason why some persons believe that there is something that is happening that they are not aware. We don't believe in flagging of projects, except otherwise. We believe in commissioning them. We don't want to spend money just to flag up projects and also spend money to commission. So let's save you the money of flagging off and entertain you when we are ready to tell you that this is what we have done with your money. When we left during the emergency rule, our records are there. We left over 300 and something billion. When we came back, we met about 600 and something. Every penny that we're spending, the record is there. And evidence of it will be shown within now and the next 6 months. So there is no issue on what are we doing with our money, what are we doing with the money they made. At least nobody can take away.
All right, good evening and welcome to Active Citizens Parliament. My name is Sharon Enemchuku, and joining me live in the studio, I have with me Ifoma Odi and Mr. Ugochukwu Afuba. Good evening. How are we both doing this evening?
Good evening. I'm doing great.
I can see, and you, Ifoma.
Thank you. I'm good.
All right, we just saw that video coming from Governor Fubara, and I would like us to start there for the evening. He has come out to say that as of the time he left office, he left a total of 300 billion naira in the accounts of River State, and as he came back, he met over 600 billion. And just the momentum and how that money rose is what got a lot of people talking. Because I remember when Fubara got into office, or when he was reinstated after the state of emergency, we heard people calling him to investigate and to question and probe the sole administrator Ibas over how he managed funds and contracts that were awarded. But according to the governor, now we are hearing that when he came back, he met even more than he left. So I want to get your take, Ifoma. What's your take?
Okay. Let us all still recall that during the time the president declared the state of emergency, that and after Ibas, I say Ibas, after Fubara was reinstated, that a lot of people during Iba's time, that they complained that there were a lot of mismanagement, a lot of looting and the rest of them. That was the rumors going on that time. And it was quite shocking to now see Fubara come out this time, because I know when this whole thing happened, I believe that a lot of Nigerians kind of felt his pain. People were, feeling for him. And when he came back into office, a lot of people were equally saying that the funds that was left in the purse is no longer the same funds that was in the funds, so that it needs to be investigated. And I'm now hearing that he left over 300 billion in the account. Now it has rose to 600 billion. See, the thing with Nigeria is that when some leaders want to lie to you, they kind of try as much as possible to cover up some things. Now, you saw that video, you saw that he was wearing eyeglass. So for me, I feel like he couldn't look directly into the people of Rivers State eyes to tell them, oh, this is actually a lie, because you cannot tell me that such thing happened and Nigerians or maybe the people of River State cannot even bear witness to whatever happened. We know recently that he defected to APC, so you must have had a conversation behind closed doors and they told him, say they get something when you talk about Ibas, you need to go and kind of protect, or rather
just take back your
words during that time. So that is exactly what we are seeing. It's the same thing that we're talking about, transparency from our leaders. Now let's even remove that one. Since he said that he left 300 billion in office and he's meeting 600 billion in office, we need to know what money was spent on and how that money rose from 300 billion to 600 billion.
Exactly.
The people of River State actually demand that,
and they deserve that,
it.
actually.
Exactly.
And we want to also know, maybe other state governments can also emulate how they can multiply their income within 6 months from 300 billion, just 2x that. But let me get your take, Mr. Uguchukwu.
I've always had the opinion that this government is trying so much to even, let's say, artificially paint themselves as good, because naturally they are not doing very well. And that is why I told the part of Ifeoma where she said that, when he resumed office, he made comments about the money that is missing. And now that he has joined the APC, I think the president told him, remember what you said before, you have to go and paint a new picture. And that is what he's trying to do now. The APC government just wants to look so good so that, even the sole administrator that was appointed there, the people will say, oh, the president actually appointed someone who could handle money. Not just handle money, but even
grow their economy.
Audio money anyway. and now I think that, just like Ifeoma said, we need to know the things he did with the money that was there when he was governing the people of Rivers. Did he do any investment? How did he generate revenue? What exactly did he do in 6 months, barely 6 months, during that tense political moment, to double 300 billion to 600 billion? We need to know. They need to give us a full audit. This time around is not to the government officials. It should be to Nigerians, to the people of River State, so we can actually see. And if he has done well, we will commend him, of which I completely disagree, because the governor initially has made contradictory statements to what he's saying now. So they should give an audit of how he spent that money.
And I think generally it would be good to know exactly how you can 2x your money, even individually, and for the state government rising from 300 billion naira to 600 billion naira. If it is true, it is commendable, but if it is not, then it is an unnecessary lie. But anyways, we're moving to the fact that we saw just recently the Senate coming out to not the Senate now, with the Supreme Court coming out to say or to rule that the presidency has the power, or was in his rightful power, to instate the sole administrator in Rivers State. Now, tying that to this, there was something you mentioned, or was it Mr. Uguchukwu, about the fact that they want to justify the claims or the decision the president made in installing a sole administrator in Rivers State.
Okay, I didn't get that.
All right, so I'm saying, right, since the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of the presidency, saying that he has the power, or he had the power, to instate a sole administrator for Rivers State, and with what we are seeing now, right, and Mr. Ugochukwu said that this might be a cover-up to actually prove that Mr. President was right in his power to bring up IBAS as a sole administrator. Do you see any ties with that?
Yes, I see ties. The president wouldn't want to appear like an unserious leader. That is what we are seeing. That is why he has gone to tell Fubara. Meanwhile, remember that during that time that he had the emergency, he declared the state of emergency. I remember that Fubara went to meet him, and after the meeting, and after I think it was 2 months, maybe a month later, Fubara was now reinstated. Now, it's more like they had a closed door meeting, and the president asked him, I need you to defect from your current party to APC. That is the only way that maybe this is going to work, or rather, maybe I'm just alleging, it's possible. If you don't do that, so thing might actually happen. So
I don't
you
think you
see,
should be alleging
see-
anyway. It's
you
obvious.
see, yeah, it's obvious, but at the same time, we weren't there to say, okay, this is what exactly happened. But I think, yeah, the president is trying to reassert power. The president is trying to show that whoever he chose during that time was actually the rightful person that is supposed to, take charge. But I remember when we had this conversation earlier, I said that yes, we agree to the fact that the president has the power to declare state of emergency, but I don't think that is at the confines of his power to remove an elected official, public officer from, the office. That's something that is still opaque, that citizens are yet to understand, and I'm yet to see it in the constitution at all. So I think the president still need to provide explanation, and the lawmakers to still need to provide explanation as regards that.
All right. Now, Mr. Ugochukwu, still on this matter, seeing that we've seen the Supreme Court coming out to rule in favor of the presidency, and they have accused the judiciary of siding with the executive in a long time, especially with this present administration. What's your take also on that particular ruling from Supreme Court?
Okay, let me give an analysis of what you call judgment was. Actually, the Supreme Court did not give a ruling. If you read that, I think it was a 14-page document. The Supreme Court struck out the case, and it was not a unanimous decision. It was just few of the Supreme Court justices who made that, let's say, declaration, because it was not a judgment. They struck out the case of the PDP governors because the Supreme Court said they did not have any case that if Fubara was the one, or if the Attorney General of Rivers State was the one who filed a case in court, then there would be a case to answer. But it was other PDP governors from other states who went to file that case. So first and foremost, the Supreme Court said they did not have any jurisdiction over that matter. But then, due to the sensitivity of the topic, they still went on to give their, let's say, their view, their opinion on it, not a ruling. And in that their opinion, they made they gave an example, say a reference, and they said that in countries like India and Pakistan, that the president has the power, the prime minister has the power to remove a sitting governor. And I think there was a way, and they said unlike India and Pakistan, where these things are possible, it is not applicable in Nigeria. That simply already should tell you, the stance of the Supreme Court on it. But they still went further to say that yes, the power of the president to, to give a state of emergency is not being questioned. He has full powers.
Yeah, constitutionally.
Yeah, but I think that the opinion of those justices, it's not.
It's
yes,
contradictory.
Because some part they were saying that the president has a mandate to restore democracy.
Yes.
That he can take extreme measures, but that extreme measures, what exactly is
and the boundaries, the
measures?
limits for
extreme. What I now think about it generally is that those justices, when the truth does not hide itself, they know it, and they wanted to side with the president, but they could not do that legally because it would leave an imprint in their legacy that they ruled something contrary to the Constitution of Nigeria. That was why it was not a ruling. It was rather their opinion. Where they were not balanced. They sided with the president at some point, and they still made it clear that the president does not have the right to remove elected officials, even though it's still very vague.
So it seems as though what they did was just sit on the fence on that particular matter and try to appease or try to appease the presidency side. I think we're going to call it a wrap on this discussion. Let's move over to the next one, which is what a lot of Nigerians are concerned about. It is the new tax laws and the fact that there's a fresh storm brewing over the new tax law. Now, what we're seeing from the presidency, now we're seeing that the presidency has rejected calls for the suspension of President Bola Tinubu's recently signed tax reforms. And this is coming from Bayo Onanuga as well. He has come out to say that this tax law has already been approved and it has been signed into bill. And, come January 1st, 2026, it is going to be fully implemented. That people who had different opinions should have had this way before now so that they could have, showcased their objections. But now, coming from Bayo Naniga, he says it is rather too late for any changes to be made. But let me get your take, Ifoma.
Okay, in a perfect world, tax reform is actually necessary. That is, for a country that rely on one source of income, revenue. Now you know that Nigeria relies wholly or solely on oil to generate revenue. So if it was actually in this world, we could actually say, okay, this is perfect. We understand it. Now the thing there is that Nigerians do not have a problem with paying tax. Nigeria have a problem with accountability. Nigerians have a problem with transparency. Now, the government that have been generating funds from the oil sector and other sectors, we are yet to see it translate into the lives of Nigerians. We are yet to see the government provide infrastructure. We are yet to see a lot of schools. We are yet to see unemployment is squeezing Nigerians. We're yet to see it in the lives of Nigerians. Now you've come out to say that you're going to implement new tax laws by January 2026. And Nigerians are asking, the ones that you've been taking from Nigerians, what are the results of those ones? That's one. And how are we sure that these new ones that you want to remove from Nigerians is actually we are going to see follow through, we are going to see results of fruition from it? That is what Nigerians are asking. And not just that the timing still matters. Nigerians are plunged with a lot. You cannot tax poverty. You cannot tax people that are impoverished. You cannot tax people that find it difficult to feed on daily basis, on new tax forms. That is why, had it been the government provided more jobs, the government provided more roads, made petroleum kind of affordable, Nigerians could actually say, for the fact that okay, the government is delivering on their mandate, we can actually pay this tax form. But we are not seeing anything like that in Nigeria. And I remember during the afternoon show that a particular lawyer or a senator raised a prayer during the plenary, and he said that there's been some discrepancies between what was debated earlier, that is the new tax law that was debated earlier, that is not the same thing that we are seeing now, the same thing that is being gazetted that we are seeing right now. So there is something skewed, there is something that still need to be reviewed, and he asks that the Senate House still review that particular thing. But I think you were in the afternoon show and you saw what happened in the Senate House, how he was shut down. So our leaders are not even ready, and Nigerians will see what will happen 2026.
All right, now coming to Mr. Ugochukwu, Onanuga described the reforms as revolutionary, right? He argued that the new regime would enhance tax revenue for the benefit of Nigerians and dismissed calls for suspension as inconsistent with, in his words, right-thinking Nigerians. What are your comments on that?
Before I do that, there was a question you asked, I just want to say something about it.
Right.
That right now, you cannot suspend that tax law anymore. Bayo Onanuga was right on that part because it has been passed.
No, it can be suspended. Do you know how it can be suspended? If the Senate, House
if a majority
it,
of the
yes,
Senate, and
yes,
how do we see that happening? So if actually people raised concern during the screening time when they were still going through debating it, I think we could have seen something different then. So now the chance is, in fact, there is no chance at all to even review it. I am looking at the president to pass it into a bill by effective 1st January 2026. In general, on the tax law, I can defend this new tax law all I want, but I just have one problem, and that problem is what Ifoma said, that we live in a country where citizens are paying tax and we are not seeing the result of the tax we are paying. The country is generating so much revenue from oil, and they are still taxing the citizens, which I have no problem, because every citizen has an obligation to pay tax or a responsibility to pay tax. So taxation is it's not uncommon, it's not a new thing. The problem I just have is the way this government is, the way they are actually managing the
about
whole
it.
thing, because it's not encouraging at all when we are paying tax and you are not seeing
This
the
fruition,
yes,
yes.
seeing it working. Then coming on the tax, this new tax law, I feel that the tax team, the people who actually initiated this bill, they have done a good job. Honestly, I will tell you, you just need to look beyond the noise you are seeing. I think we've been clouded so much by our hate for this administration that you do not want to see anything good come out of it. I've taken my time to look at pages from that tax law. It's I feel that it eliminates the type of taxation system we used to have before, where as long as you're a Nigerian, you are going to be paying tax. That is what, even though they were not enforcing it so much, the former tax laws had it that as long as you're a Nigerian, that you're of age and you are earning income, you are going to be paying tax. But in this new tax law, we've seen changes there. Even it tries to people who earn low, it tries to shield
Exempt
them
them.
from so much tax, and then it's going more for people who own large businesses who are not registered, because people who are registered have there is a way theirs is controlled. It's not, I'm not trying to say they pay lesser
Lesser.
tax, but let's say considerable to ones who have unregistered businesses. I mean, I can't go into the details, but I just want to say that looking at what we've had in the past before, this tax is a reform.
So
Can
you
I?
think, of course. So he's just saying that he thinks that this tax laws, this new reforms are better than what we used to have. But you were
Yes,
saying something.
yeah, I was trying to add, I wanted to add something to what he said. Yes, I understand that these new tax laws have gone through it and is actually, something commendable. But at the same time, like I said earlier, with what was raised in plenary today, with the motion that was raised in plenary today, it's no longer the same tax law that you read before that is before us, that is being passed as a law. That's what I'm trying to
I,
tell
I,
you.
I saw that
And
video. That senator who
this
said
is
that he should
yes,
he should
and
show us the
exactly,
particular
we need
places
to
he's
see,
seeing
yeah, we need to
discrepancies.
see the entire tax, this thing, that was how it was changed, what was changed. Because to be honest with you, Nigerians are not going to take it lightly. Number one, they are still bothered with the economic hardship in Nigeria, and now you've introduced tax, and then they are still trying to contend with that tax that you introduced. You now went ahead to change what they already feel like, okay, if you're earning below 800,000 naira, that you will be evaded, or you will not be
You'll
paying
be
Exempted.
tax.
tax free.
Yes, you'll be tax free. And now we're hearing now that something is kind of not sitting right in the entire thing. It might be that this 800,000 naira that these people are being exempted from, that will see them paying that. Even people that are earning lower than 200,000 naira will be forced to pay tax. So we need to see, a full audit. We need to see a full what is it called, details of this new law that has been passed, that was different from what was
Sorry, can
debated.
I just
That's what I'm
before you go?
saying.
I think that the burden of proof lies on the one who alleges. So these things you are saying now, it's not that this is Nigeria, anything goes, but it is, the burden is on the House member who made this allegation. He should provide what, because he was there, he was part of the people who reviewed the tax. He should provide what they debated on, and what the Senate is now gazetting to Nigerians, because he's just the one saying it.
All right. I think where Nigerians are having a problem with is the fact that there might be two different tax reform laws that we have in public, and one coming from the presidency is not what the Senate debated and agreed upon, which has raised eyebrows as people are now concerned as to what exactly this new alleged new tax law reforms would look like for them come January 1st, 2026. But truly, like what Mr. Ogochukwu said, I also would agree that we want to see a full-on detail what the two different tax reform laws from the presidency, from the Senate looks like. Let us have a clear idea of what we're getting into. But right here, right now, it is where we're calling it a wrap on the show for the conversations this evening. Thank you so much, Ifomoji, for joining, and Mr. Ogochukwu Afuba for joining us as well this evening. And to our viewers, if you're watching for the first time, we say thank you for watching. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, this this is the best time to go about doing that. And please endeavor to follow us across all socials at Active Citizens. You can find me as well across all media at Sharon NM and Jiri
You
Forma.
can find me on Facebook at Oji Sophia and on Instagram at Miselex.
Mr. Ugochukwu.
You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Ugochukwu Afuba.
All right, till we come your way tomorrow, do have a good evening.